අරවානිවන් අබ පුර තොර සිරිදලඳා පරසතු කුසුම් උඩුගුවනී විසුරුගි දෙවියෝ ඔබේ නමින්
වීදි සංචාරය කිරීම සඳහා සියලු කටයුතු සෝදානම්. මල්වතු අස්ගිරි උභය මහා විහාරීය මහානායක මාහිම්පාණන් වහන්සේලාගේ අවවාද අනුශාසනා පෙරදැරිව ශ්‍රී දළදා මාලිගාවේ ගරු දේවඩන නිලමේතුමන් සිව් මහතන සම්ප්‍රදායන් නැටුම් ගැයුම් වැයුම් සමග පීලා අලිපැත් පන්තින් සමග මේ පෙරහැර අද දවසේ වීදි සංචාරය කරනවා. එනිසාවෙන් නිවසේ රැඳී සිටින ඔබට අපි තාමත් ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කරනවා එන්න සජීවව අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වන්න මේ ஐතිஹாசிක කන්ද උඩරටම්.
இது கண்டி அசல பெரகராவினுடைய 5ஆம் நாள் கும்பல் பெரகரா இருந்தபடியே மும்மொழி மூலமாகவும் டயலாக் தொலைக்காட்சி 119 பிஓடிவி 20 310 ஃப்ரீசெட் 2 மற்றும் தலதா மாளிகையினுடைய யூடியூப் ஃபேஸ்புக் தளங்கள் மூலமாக நேரடியாக கண்டுகளிக்க முடியும். இது அசல பெரகரா 2023 அனைவரும் வருக இறையருள் பெருக.
Perihara 2023 is about to come alive for the 5th consecutive day. As this procession unfolds, it not only preserves noble Sri Lankan traditions but also revitalizes them. Tune in to us wherever you are, nation. Unfolding today is the 5th and the last Kumbal Procession of Sri Dalada Perahera 2023.
Esala Perahera Festival 2023, brought to you by the Media and Special Projects Bureau of the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
You are now seeing the Perihara officials obtaining the permission and blessings of the Rabban and Lee Kelly.
Now, the Rabban and Lee Kelly will be making his way from the upper level, the Ihalamalaya, the custodian venerating prelate of the Malvatu Mahavihara, Venerable Tibbatuave Medankarabidana Thero, who will be carrying the Perihara casket under much veneration amidst the offering of light, sounds, scents,
You are now seeing the Perihara casket, which contains 32 relics of God of uplift the majesty of this great procession.
And this is the 5th night procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023, the grand festival of respect that pays homage to the sacred.
This is the devout moment when the royal tusker shall step majestically down from the Mahava Halkada, the main entrance on the streets of the Kandian city.
Today, the royal tusker will be Vasana, belonging to the Ruhuru Maha Kataragama Devale. An ancient poem translated from the book Sangarajavata recites the story of the Kandy Esala Perahera as follows. The kingdom of Senkada, led by the grace of the Buddha, followed by the deities.
Sound of thundering whips piercing through the skies are the whip crackers announcing that the procession has commenced. These whip masters are, when looking back at history, Rabban and Lee Kelly, the lay custodian of the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha, who will resemble the king in the modern day Perihara.
in a symbolical way that it paints the imagery of a rainfall. Rain would never be showered without the striking sound of thunder, and these whip wielders are the symbolic imagery and cultivations with rain.
Commencing act of the 5th Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera 2023, this group of whip masters are being led by Mr. Upali Jayaratna.
This duty is handed down from generation to generation of their clans, and only those who have mastered the art of whip cracking will be taken to participate in the Kandy Esala Perahera.
According to traditions, a perihara which does not have the pedigree, perihara
7 feet in length, and it's fully made out of natural materials known as niyaga and navapatta, which indicates how traditions have preserved and the authentic methods have not changed throughout the parading history of 1700.
tying the knots that are formed with the whipping, and that is symbolic to the various problems that we face in this journey of life, where we too spend a careful expense of mind in untying our
Many onlookers who are seated around the city of Kandy to witness this perihara. This is done in the belief that this practice will ward off any evil from their loved ones and for blessings from the sacred tooth relic.
And these Sri Lankans are among the top in the world's giving index. That is indeed an outcome from the social influence of Lord Buddha's teaching.
Regardless of our condition to giving.
On this year, 2023, we are witnessing the grace of the thugs must be carried around the city once a year, and this tradition still continues, followed by the succession of many ruling kings, prime ministers and presidents.
This evening, the perihara commenced at the Vidya and will conclude ascending the Rajavidya.
It is an interesting fact from history that in the ancient times, and it was indeed the thankful move by King Kirti Sri Rajasingha, who declared that the relics need to be taken in procession for the public to witness and venerate and seek for blessings.
The structure of the Kandy Perahera is divided into the segments of the internal Devale Perahera, the Kumbal Procession and the Randoli Perahera. And this evening we are in the concluding event of the Just as the lightning shall flash across the sky, the procession too has its flashes of light, dancing across the faces of the people, lining the streets to watch. These are the fire dancers who are offering fire, inviting the rain gods to water the lands with rain.
For water, this phenomenon of nature is magnificently depicted by this group of fireball dancers who perform this thrilling stunt of acrobatics while illustrating how lightning comes with the rain.
Back in history, Kandian performing arts have been classified into 5 variants, which were known as the Wahala Ilangama, Singakkara Ilangama, Tambarapitukkara Ilangama. These classifications must be performed in the perihara, which is a royal order that is still being obeyed since the ancient times till the modern days.
And the classic among the spectators. And the fireball dance we see in front of us is one such example of a performing art.
Paints the night with varied patterns of light, using both hands and feet, along with thrilling episodes of fire stunts, which exactly highlights why this dance belongs to the Wahala Ilangama.
That are known as Bintalaya, low level, Madatalaya, mid level, and Ahastalaya, the sky level. That is definitely the highlighted episode of the fireball dance that is performed standing on each other in great distance.
Of the Ragama Walpola Aesthetic Academy, who have been performing in the Kandy Esala Perahera for many years. And on this occasion itself, we are seeing not just one, but several generations of artists representing the team of fireball dance.
The dancers are seen creating their pain, but for the experienced elders, it is a devout and committed fire offering.
The dancers are seen creating paintings of fire across the night sky as they move in the procession. And these dancers are being very mindful about the part that fire plays in dispelling dark, the sacred tooth relic.
In the fire acrobats, now we are seeing the arrival of the Buddhist flag bearers, who are being represented by the Pallekele, the inmates of Pallekele Open Prison Camp.
Costumes, and they carry the most respected flag of Buddhism while being preceded by the national flag of Sri Lanka. The sight of these Buddhist flags create a sense of tranquility among the spectators, reminding us the fact that this procession is in celebration.
And a priority of the Kandy Esala Perahera is to reflect the unity of Sri Lanka as a nation, which is symbolized by the national flag that was leading the army of flags.
Flag is a symbol of faith and peace. The 6 colors of the flag represent the colors of the aura that emanated from the body of Lord Buddha when he attained enlightenment under the sacred Bodhi tree, the eternal world peace.
And when it comes to the colors displayed in the Buddhist flag, they are represented as blue for universal compassion, yellow for the middle path, red for blessings, white for purity and liberation, and orange for the unshakable wisdom. This ceremonial procession is performed in adulation of the living Buddha, and as well as paramita, or the act people of the great scope and depth of Dhamma that was preached by Lord Buddha. The flag bearers create a sense of unlimited compassion of the Buddha, This sight truly calms the undisciplined, wayward mind, Lord Buddha.
Just as we mentioned in the beginning, these flag bearers who we see here are the inmates of the Pallekele open prison camp who have been starring in this segment in the Perihara for me. That could have been a mistake of theirs or of their society. But this part here today to pay homage to the sacred tooth relic in hope for the change that they pray for in their lives.
Bearers, now we are seeing the arrival of the group of sword bearers who are represented by the Angampura team of Sri Lanka Air Force.
Walking in great discipline in their car, clad in white sarong and a white headdress, this army is seen carrying the race swords, not in warfare, but it is provided with utmost might to the sacred tooth relic. For those who know about the history of the sacred tooth relic, would be patriotically proud of bravery.
Since the ancient times, the sacred tooth relic has plagued the country.
And it has always been protected by the patriotic warriors. And this is a lesson we need to teach our children, a story to be proud of, and also that if not for them, we would have lost the sacred tooth relic.
Even today. And an inquisitive historian would be certain to be aware of the life-dedicated service rendered by the Mahasangha. If you too are interested to know more, it is with pride. We now see the most magnificent sight of the Perihara, which is the arrival of the very first elephant who will be carrying the Peramune.
Other than the great elephant Banda, belonging to the Honourable Diyavadana Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Honourable Pradeep Nilangadala.
It is the norm of the Perihara, and neither officials nor elephants are permitted to parade before the Peramune Rala. If you look at Peramune Rala, this
is the arrival of the first Havisi troupe that represents the official musical ensemble who are permanently seconded to the service of the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
As a tradition which they practice with majestic skill. In fact, no Panchaturya Vadana or traditional orchestra of Sinhalese music that produce sounds using either drums or
which is dignified as the authentic sound of Sri Lanka. The history of Havisi takes us back to the time when the sapling of the Jai Shri Maha Bodhi tree was brought down to Sri Lanka by Sangamita Therini and then heritage.
orchestra of the five-fold musical instruments too has its own variants that are authentic to various parts of the country known as Upcountry, Low Country and Kataragama. The speciality of the Kandy Esala Perahera belongs to the upcountry tradition of Hevisi, which is known as උඩරට Hevisi in Sinhalese. Five-fold musical instruments as recognized by Sri Lankan music culture as Pancheturanada is noted as Athatha instruments played by both hands, Vithatha instruments played by and Sushira instruments that are blown. This arrangement of the uprair that represents the Athatha tune. If we could identify the other instruments that are played here, we see the Horanava, or the traditional windpipe that represents the tune of Vithathatha, and the Thalampata or little hand cymbals that represent the tune of Ghana. The beauty of Hevisi involves when all of these instruments are played together.
Daily rituals of the Sri Dalada Maligawa are assigned to the most skilled lineages of Hevisi, who represented the first row of the Hevisi troupe while marching to the beat of the drums. And apart from these key lineages, we saw the presence of many other lineages as well.
Riding on the second elephant with dignified majesty is the Gajanayaka Nilame of Sri Dalada Maligawa, by the king himself.
This evening, the Gajanayaka Nilame shall be sitting on the Tusker Kotte Raja, belonging to Venerable Alutnuwara Anuruddha Nayaka Theru, the chief incumbent of the historic Kotte Rajamahavihara.
Traditional Sinhala Mullandama majestically approaches on a tusker while holding the Ankus or the Ankusaya, which is the official symbol of Gajanayaka Nilame, which is being led by Mr. Nalin Jayasekara of Sri Dalada.
Padea is one of the most serene dance performances of the upcountry tradition, which provides a welcoming gesture to the audience and dances in style and discipline using footwork to the tune of the Gataberi. The Bulat Padea is in fact a ritualistic dance that is performed in healing rituals or Shanti Karma across upcountry, low country and Kataragama traditions, and here we are seeing the upcountry version of the Bulat Padea, prices of the Bulat Padea, the Kotala Padea, Mal Padea, Salu Padea, Pol Padea, Yahan Muti Padea and the Anguru Dummala Padea.
The motive
In fact, this is but since the Perihara is a performing art-based event, we are seeing the same Bulat Padea ritual being choreographed into a special group dance.
It is a special fact that we see lots of dance acts which are very specific to upcountry tradition in this Kandy Esala Perahera.
That are unique to the Kandian tradition of performing arts. Therefore, for any visitor who visits the Kandy Esala Perahera, will be getting the chance to witness the most authentic and the most unique procession, who shall be carrying an official with a Buddhist flag. And this elephant is Gajaba, belonging to Mr. Ranjit Vijay Singha of the Natha Devale in Yakkala. Gajaba the government ruled in the year 1991. Back in history, Gajaba was once a menace to the villagers of Galgamur, and this was the reason why he was decided to be auctioned. And it's quite serpents who are blessed for this Kandy Esala Perahera this evening.
And now we are seeing a beautiful aerial image of the Kandy Esala Perahera.
Just like how Gajaba just welcomed all of you joining the special broadcast from the change in the Perahera, I believe it would be more of a grander version of the Perahera which you will be witnessing today. And let me just leave the suspicion to see what's in store for you from
We are now seeing a troupe of Nayani dancers who are being led by Mr. Saman Nilvitha.
Pasasna Sudha Nayani dance is one of the most special dance performances when it comes to the Kumbal Procession festival, isn't it?
Exactly. So, the specialty of Nayani dancing is that this dance is primarily performed by the primitive Kandian dance artists who have not yet been attained reverentially as a West dancer, master the skill of Nayandi in order to proceed.
The word Nayandi is in fact the name of the costume that is worn by the Nayandi dancers, which is the same costume that is worn by the Kandy shaped in the shape of a cobra.
And this Nayandi dance
Trio of tuskers. In the middle we find the elephant Pulatisiraja belonging to the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Malvatta chapter, alongside with the tusker Raju belonging to Venerable Warakagoda Nyanaratana Thero, the Mahanayaka Thero of the Askiriya chapter. In fact, all these three tuskers are tuskers of the Kandy Esala Perahera this evening.
and led and trained by Mr. Nimesh Sumanaratna of Sri Chandananda Buddhist College.
The talampeta, or the small set of cymbals, are a vital instrument in the dance that is technically mentioned as the titmatra. But here the talam dance considers these little cymbals as the main prop itself, where the dancers play the cymbals in the denoted rhythm, which
these young talent performer in this space, using the right moves that are designed in maintaining the cultural element of the act.
The dancers have not and bright colored costumes being worn by the artists, and also the two bright colored sheaves of cloth that are attached to both ends of the thalam, which certainly creates a picturesque attraction as it
dance belongs to the Ghana variant of the Panchathura Natha. This evolved.
Coincidentally, we are seeing two of the former mascots of the Sri Lanka Army walking together in this procession. The mascots of the Sri Lanka Army are named as Kandula. On the left side, we see the Thero, the chief incumbent, and on his left side, we see Kandula the fifth, who is currently named as Bibila, belonging to Mr. Udara Galappatti of Giriyulla. So indeed, this is Kandula the 11th, who belongs to the Light Infantry Regiment of the Sri Lanka Army, and both of these gentle elephants are very disciplined with behavior, which once again proves of their military background. And on the mounts of Bibila and Kandula,
And following the two Kandulas, we are now seeing the arrival of a troupe of Panteru dance. Panteru is a musical instrument that is used as is exclusively belongs to the Udarata or upcountry tradition of dance.
as it shakes. And now we see the arrival of two more majestic elephants. On one side, we see the elephant Vijitaraja belonging to Venerable Singhapura Chetya Lankara Thero, the chief incumbent of the Dimbulagala Aranya Senasaya. And on the other side, we see the elephant compulsory participants of the Dalada Perahera since the year 2005 with the election of the current Diyavadana Nilame. And Vijitaraja has been a ceremonial elephant of the Sri Natha Devale elephant of the Dalada Perahera itself. And on the mounts of both of these elephants, we see officials carrying snake head canopies to symbolize protection to the impending relic casket.
Are being led by Mr. P.C.B. Vijay Surya.
The Shastriya Natum or dance performances that are based on healing rituals, and the other being Gabi Natum or folk dance performances. The dance that we see now is actually a remarkable fusion of not just one but 4 different folk dance performances being done simultaneously.
Folk dancing is also known as Lanka. These dance acts have no ritualistic regulations that need to be strictly adhered to in comparison to the Shastriya dance acts. In fact, there is a lot of space left for creativity in designing the choreography, the authenticity of the dance as how it was passed down upon generations.
Acts, which we see the the Lee Kelly, Rabban and the Savarang, which we would see being performed as individual dance items across all 5 segments of the majestic perihara. And this
dance themselves based on their designated dance. It is true that it is the same music that is being played for the whole group, but this music plays the tune for 4 different dance acts that involve 4 different props and
Dalada Maligawa realized a shortage of tuskers to be Dala elephants or the accompanying tuskers for the perihara. This was the reason why the government of Myanmar decided to give 2 tuskers to Sri Lanka as Myan Raja and Burma Raja, who are the official Dala tuskers of the perihara relic casket. And this evening we see them marching ahead of the perihara casket, which is quite different to their usual role.
And following Myan Raja and Burma Raja, we are now seeing the West Dance Troupe, who are being led by Mr. Sanjeeva Verapitiya and Mr. P. Sri Dalada Maligawa.
The most unique Kandian West dancer. The Kandian dancer's skill and dance form has been considered as an authentic expression of Sri Lankan culture.
Dancing across the 7 seas, despite the presence of many artistic dance performances that are authentic to traditional Sri Lankan dance.
To be crowned as a West dancer, and they are only permitted to wear the West tattoo or the much respected headdress only after when they are religiously coronated as a West dancer, which is eye-catchy items of the perihara. And in the Kumbal Procession festivities, we are only seeing 2 West dance performances, and out of which we are seeing the first West dance, that is escorting the ceremony.
The West dance is more than just a ritual. It is a sacred recitation for protection against misfortune. Therefore, the costume of these dancers are also consulted who perform the ancient ritual of Hatapasmangalya, which is healing ceremony that was held 2,500 years ago.
Dressed in the white portier costume, this is the Kataragama Devale.
We are now at the much awaited and most devout moment of the perihara.
The very special orchestra that leads antique music to the Relic casket. And now we are at the much awaited and most devout moment of the perihara. The perihara Relic casket being carried by the great Tusker Vasana belonging to the Ruhudu Mahakatandula belonging to the Kalaniya Rajmahavihara. Let us now take a moment to feel the devotion and worship the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha. This is the chamber of virtue. These versifiers are holding several instruments, including the Panteru and the Udakil, and the specialty of the is placed back in the chamber.
And following the chamber of versifiers, we are now seeing the and Mr. Lasantha Vanasegara.
West dancing was three. The West dance performance was performed in the time of the Anuradhapura kingdom, and this has been rebranded as a Kandian dance only after the royalty has shifted the kingdom to Kandy.
If we go back to the story, we see when the first ever Hatapasmangalya was performed in Sri Lanka by the King Malaya to cure a Dividos or godly curse that had been bestowed upon King Panduvasdeva, who is in fact as Tambapani. The story of which is quite interesting to learn.
The role of the second troupe of West dancers is to welcome the Diyavadana Nilame. And as per the tradition of the fifth by the Basnayaka Nilame of the Sri Maha Pattini Devale in Kandy. Final Kumbal Procession this evening. We are just about to witness the grace of the representing Diyavadana Nilame, the Basnayaka Nilame of the Sri Maha Pattini Devale in Kandy, Basnayaka Nilame Honorable Hemantha Bandarahera, who also holds the position of the Basnayaka Nilame of the Vilbava Pattini Devale in Kurunagala and the Pattini Devale in Magurakata. Surrounded by his army of guards, followed by the Vidanes or the chieftains of the 10 associate villages of the Sri Dalada Maligawa. As this marks the end of the Kumbal Procession festivities, that in the Diyavadana Nilame, the Basnayaka Nilames of the Sathara Maha Devale, and also the participation of the Basnayaka Nilames of the Pitisara Devale, which is also known as the rural shrines that are affiliated to the Sathara Maha Devale of Kandy, Nindagam to the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
As it marks the end of the fifth and the final Kumbal Perihara of Dalada Maligawa, Commencement of Sri Natha Devale Perahera.
The Sri Natha Devale in Kandy is located right in front of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, where it is considered as the main shrine that is dedicated towards Lord Natha and one of the oldest buildings in Kandy, Perahera, due to the belief that the god Natha is the next in line to attain Buddhahood.
Procession of Sri Natha Devale, we are now seeing the flag bearers who are being represented by the Civil Security Department officials of Sri Lanka.
He is the next in line to attain Buddhahood as Maitri Bodhisattva, where he is also identified as Avalokiteshvara in Indian cults. The iconography of God Natha is shown as a gentle young man of fair complexion who holds a lotus flower on his left hand. He is in fact famed as one of the dominant gods associated by the Udavatta Kale on the right and the Kirimuhuda or the Kandy lake on the left. We are seeing the grand splendor of Kandy beginning to welcome the procession of the Sri Natha Devale in Kandy.
And Special Projects Bureau of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Kandy.
The ceremonious procession that is performed for the living Buddha and also the next form to remind people of the great scope and the depth of the Dhamma that was preached by Lord Buddha.
When it comes to the god Natha, believed to be built as an offering towards the god Natha by King Vikramabahu III, and the royal buildings including the palace had been built in its surroundings. The Devala is built in the form of a Gedige Devalaya, which is of joining the main building is the smaller shrine that is dedicated to god Gambara. It is believed that the Dutch armies had used this same space as the resting place when they arrived to meet, that is famed as the Valbodia, which is much worshipped by all devotees who visit Sri Dalada Maligawa.
Just like the heavy troupe of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, procession engages in their own routine offerings, weekly, monthly and annual rites and rituals of the particular Devala. As Hevisi is not just a part of the Sri Dalada Maligawa's rituals, but is also similarly important to the offerings of the Devala shrines as the main Shabda Puja or sound offerings towards respective Devala. So which lineage exactly will be performing in the procession of this evening?
So the lineage or the troupe who will be performing in the Sri Maha. And as a matter of fact, Nilesh, all these performers who are performing Hevisi, their families have long histories and their lineages have been blessed to be performing in this perihara for many years.
Symphonic sound of the overall Hevisi ensemble. When musically analyzing the instruments on its own, we see that the Dowler is used to create a deep echoing sound. The thumb atom, on the other hand, creates a noise that is heard against the iconic symphony that covers the heritage of Sri Lanka. And now we see the arrival of the first elephant of the Sri Natha Devale Perahera this evening, who carries an official carrying the flag of God Natha, the chief incumbent of the Dikwella Veukannala Budurajama Vihara. So Pasasna, there are many elephants who take part in the Kandy Esala Perahera, but in history, it was just the elephants who lived in the surrounding of the hill country who used to participate, including Arjuna, who actually takes part all the way from the southern province of Sri Lanka.
Indeed, Nilesh, and that is another piece of evidence to prove that Kandy Esala Perahera is a symbol.
We are celebrating Kandy, but in fact we are celebrating Sri Lanka. Next up, we are seeing a Savaram dance performance which is being trained and led by Mr. Dilshan Shalika of the Arya Aesthetic Academy.
Chamara dance previously in previous Kumbal Pereharas, but this is a little bit different. This dance, which is recognized as the Savarang dance, similar dance to that Chamara dance, but with a difference in the prop that is used.
The savarama, or the main, which makes it a longer version of the chamara instrument. However, the savarama too is meant to serve the same purpose as the chamara, which is to fan and cool the impending icon of worship, which was tradition of Lord Natha. The choreography of this folk dance, that styles of the upcountry tradition, is designed to symbolize fanning. Tini being shining up in the sky. And now we see the arrival of the second elephant of the Sri Natha Devale, who is Kandula, belonging to Mr. Roshan Samarakodi of Maharagama. The tool which we see, which is held by these mahouts, are known as the Hendua or the god, which is one of the main communication tools that are used to handle the elephants. And next we see a Rabban dance. The rabana or the hand tambourine is a very popular object that is used in the folk dancing tradition of Sri Lanka, and this particular dance is known as the Rabban.
The Maharabana or the Banku Rabana, which is a large drum that is played by multiple artists at the same time, and the Virindu Rabana that is played while singing comical verses of Virindu, and the Atrabana version of Karakavime Rabana or the spinning tambourine, which is in fact the same Atrabana, the dent carved in its middle.
The Rabban at times is recognized as a drum of prosperity. It belongs to the Artha classification of traditional music instruments, where both the Rabana and Boommedia, which are drums played only using both hands, are used in the agricultural dominance during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year celebrations, as the Rabban is used to communicate many festive occasions. And following that, we see the third elephant of the Sri Natha Devale Perahera, and this elephant is Chula. Chula belongs to the Vihara. Chula was gifted to the Palmadulla Rajamaha Vihara in the year 2003 by the former Prime Minister and the current President of Sri Lanka, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. He was in fact found as a baby elephant who was always one of the frequent participants of the Kandy Esala Perahera, where it is the first time that we see him in the procession of God Natha this year.
It seems that Chula has come a long way
with himself in this Perahera. He was an elephant who was once the ceremonial elephant of the Sri Pattini Devale in the year 2018 and in the Sri Kataragama Devale in the year
Lee Kelly dancers who are being trained and led by Mr. H.M.P. Upali Dharmaratna of Shashikala Aesthetic Academy.
Kelly is also another interesting folk dance of the upcountry tradition, begun individually and even among pairs or at times in groups. Being a folk dance itself, this dance too sets a village picture for the audience. But the origin of the exact movements performed can be guessed as the ancient practice of war battles among.
And if you look at the fast tempo that we are hearing right now, it is performed in several episodes of the Lee Kelly dance, and it creates a sense of energy that truly is the war rehearsal.
Following the Lee Kelly dance, we see the elephant Sama, belonging to Venerable Uduwe Dhammaloka Thero, the chief incumbent of the Alan Mathiniyarama temple, be born at the Pinnavala Elephant Orphanage. It was in the year 1987 when Sama was born to the elephants Mathali and Vijaya, which make Sama a mother of two elephants and actually a grandmother.
Nayani dance troupe, which is being led and trained by Mr. Asanka Karunaratne.
The requelaries of the respective gods are being escorted by the Nayani dance instead of the West dance performances. But from tomorrow onwards, we will be able to see the West dance, which will be taking the place of the.
Just as they're like fulfilling an esteemed duty with utmost honor and pride.
In fact, it is the greatest honor for any assume that dancing in this Kandy Esala Perahera would be a profession. But in fact, most of these dancers are occupants of different industries, being scene dancers, which shows the fact that performing in the Kandy Esala Perahera is not just a monetary profession, but it's a total gift of devotion. The legend of God Natha takes us down through many cults in Buddhism, including the Mahayana and Theravada traditions. Preceded by the chief prelate of the Sri Natha Devale this evening, the ceremonial elephant who shall carry the godly ornaments of Lord Natha will be the elephant Rohana, belonging to Mr. Varuna Kannangara of Egol, and the elephant Kandula, belonging to Venerable Devalegama Dhammasena Thero, the chief incumbent of the Tissa Maharama Rajmaha Vihara. And let us now take
Devale Perahera. Now we are witnessing the commencement of Sri Vishnu Devale Perahera of the fifth and final Kumbal Procession of Kandy Esala Perahera 2023.
the Sri Vishnu Devale in Kandy Hill capital that is dedicated to Lord Vishnu among the Satara Mahadevala culture in Kandy. The Devale is located northeast to the Sri Dalada Maligawa, which is accessed easily to the Sri Dalada Maligawa.
And opening the Sri Vishnu Devale Perahera, now we are seeing a group of flag bearers who are being represented by Civil Security Department of
Of God Vishnu is quite different. The only collection of flags that are being carried here in the procession of the Sri Vishnu Devale would be the Palat Kodi, or the flags that represent the states and the Kauna, while we see the state flags leading the procession of God Vishnu is simply to devote the fact that Lord Vishnu is the guardian deity of Sri Lanka and his eye is being shadowed upon all of these states and
Different sources of history have pronounced this deity and the Devalaya of Vishnu by different names, where one such evidence had been brought to Alut Nuwara in Kegol from Devi Nuwara in Matara, while another legend identifies this god Vishnu as Upulwan Deviyo, which translates to the blue color
of the Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya, dressed in the traditional kit of the Kadula Sri Siddharankadu Pattini Devalaya. On the Mount of Kandula, we see a very special flag, which we call as the Irahanga official with the flag that is affiliated to the customs of God Vishnu, which is the Irahanga Kodiya, or the flag that illustrates the sun and the moon.
And following that, now we're and he belongs to the Alut Nuwara Hevisi lineage of Sabaragamuwa. Set ensemble that shall take part in all the events related to Sri Mahavishnu Devalaya. And apart from the cup situation, allowing the other 4 Devala shrines and the right team to leave for the Diya Kapima or the water cutting ceremony, that is one of the final rituals that are conducted on the
across many streets that occupy the Kandy town. Once its steps fully played by the Hevisi troupe shall change once they turn into a new street or a video, and the same Valinade series of steps are being performed as the transition movement in between the changing tickets. Looking at these authentic Sri Lankan drums shall never fail to remind us of the Laksha industry of Hevisi itself. It is believed that the first Laksha artisans arrived in the shores of Sri Lanka with the Dumindagamaya, or the arrival of the elephant in Sri Lanka. So Pasasta, do you know about an elephant who plays hide and seek with its owners?
No, Nilesh.
So this is the particular elephant who is skilled with this particular trait. Ani is an elephant who shares a very family bond with her owners, where any person who shall pass down the new Colombo Kandy Road in Biyagama shall not fail to witness the evening, and we see Rani adorned in a lavishly hand-painted dress. And following Rani, we are seeing a Nayani troupe of dancers who are being trained by Mr.
The Paravi Sandesha anthology that was written in the 15th century describes Lord Vishnu as the destroyer of. Interestingly, the poetic anthology of Ahaleyapala Vamanava that was written in the 19th century calls this shrine as the Rama Devale, or the shrine that is dedicated to Rama.
Coincidentally, both of the these elephants are named Muthu, where one of these Muthu belongs to Venerable Murundeni Dhammaratana Theru, the chief incumbent of the Bagulu Muthiyangana Raja Mahavihara. Muthu belonging to Mr. Indika Mudunkoth has been taking part in the procession of the Sri Maha Vishnu Devale since her childhood, which makes her one of the most senior and of the most unique. In fact, Pasasna, the Nityatal school of dance that is being trained and led by Mr. Ro of the Sri Maha Vishnu Devale Perahera, who have been present ever since the time of King Walagamba. And these young dancers are surely a hope that these traditions shall continue regardless of the revolutionizing world.
Interesting and more significant is the fact that all the history which is linked with it, right?
This is exactly what we call history is still living with us.
Exactly. And even the younger generations are eager to continue that history throughout many years.
And I believe this would certainly be what the kings wanted to see.
Exactly.
Crafts, and it's believed to be the tail hair of the Semara deer who lives in the tip of the Himalayan mountains, which is used as a fanning tool of royalty since the very ancient times. And it is
Color of dark blue.
And following the Savarang dancers, we are seeing two of the young tuskers of the Kandy Vishnu Devale Perahera, who can assume to be one of the ceremonial tuskers in the
And following the Chi Dharmasiri of Kodituakku lineage.
The Panteru dance act of the Sri Maha Vishnu Devale Perahera.
Yes, indeed. And the Panteru is symbolic of the Chakrayuda, which was held by God Vishnu at the time.
The mace and the Sudarshana Chakra, or the spinning discus, which is believed to be one of the origins of this Panteru that is used in this dance performance. And now, following the Pastor Sisira Samarakorn of Polgahavela, one of the senior elephants of Sri Maha Vishnu Devale Perahera, who is accompanied by two of Matugama and the elephant Sandev Raja belonging to Mr. Pradeep Meenapalava of Mavanella.
Who are being trained and led by Mr. Kondadeniye Samansiri of Saman Aesthetic Academy, representing Kondadeniya lineage.
Legends believe that Lord Vishnu is a future Buddha after God Natha, which is the evident reason to as well, according to the organizing tradition of the Kandy Esala Perahera.
And if you look at the legend of Lord Vishnu in Vaishnavism, where these devotees of Hinduism consider Lord Vishnu as the prime and most supreme.
Trio of elephants carrying the insignia of Lord being delegated to the elephant Kandulatissa, the mascot elephant of the Sabaragamu Mahasaman Devale in Ratnapura. Kandulatissa performing the role of being the ceremonial elect towards Lord Vishnu this evening. Being one of the most prominent elephants in Ratnapura, he is accompanied by yet another Ratnapura, and on the other side, the elephant Churinenke, who is walking for the very first time as a dance us take this moment to feel and worship
Vishnu Devale Perahera. Let us take a moment to witness the commencement of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devale Perahera.
the Sri Maha and the specialty of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devale being the only out of the Satara Maha Devale or the four main which was known as the ancient Kavikara Vidya, where the poets of the king had used to reside during the times of royalty.
And as presented by the Civil Security Department of Sri Lanka.
Graced by Buddhist flags to symbolize the Buddhist affiliation that this Devalaya shares with Buddhism despite being venerated towards a Hindu god, and the flags which are for the mount of Lord Kataragama. According to the legend, the peacock who we see as the mount of God Kataragama is in fact a demon who was defeated by Lord Kataragama during a battle, who actually his divine mount.
Singha, who ruled the country from the year 1707 to 1739, where it was considered as personal Devala shrine to the Kandian kings for their
Shape of an oblong building with wood-carved valance boards having a narrow passage on all four sides, and the premises host a main shrine dedicated to Lord Kataragama, along with several other shrines. This evening is the elephant Suranimala, the mascot of the Alutnuvara Sri Dadimunda Devalaya, who shall be carrying an
following Suranimala. We now see the arrival of the Hevisi troupe of Sri Maha Kataragama Devale, which is being led by Mr.
The Hevisi troupe of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devale too is quite notable when compared to the other troupes of Hevisi, due to the difference in its tune and tempo. The style of Hail Natures that perform this traditional duty. This Hevisi troupe that leads the procession of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devale, that is hailing from the lineage of P.V. James Guru towards Lord Kataragama, and also by carrying the large windpipe known as the second elephant with two officials carrying a golden canopy and a snakehead canopy symbolizing protection to the regularities of Lord Kataragama is the elephant Sankaraja here. Sankaraja, who was formerly named Mihindu, was found from the wilds of Mihintale and was gifted to the Ambilipitiya Sankapala Vihara in the year 2011. She is the Academy.
Lord Kataragama, or the god of war, is a divine deity who is worshipped as Kanda Kumara, Kartikeya or Murugan in South Indian tradition, and as Kanda Surindun, Kadis, who has an appearance of 6 heads and 12 hands, who sits on the peacock with his consorts Thevani Amman and Valli Amman.
Following the path, and this is the elephant Raju, belonging to Mr. Chamila Bandaranayaka of Gannoru.
Following Raju, we now see the arrival of a troupe of Udaki dancers who are being led by Mr. Buddhika Jayasinghe of Maurya Aesthetic Academy.
And I believe
Of dance acts this time, right?
I believe it's going to improve and increase in the Randoli Perihara processions that we are about to witness from tomorrow onwards, and this could be a slight hint of what to expect next.
Exactly.
See here in this dance performance, We do not just see these performers playing the udakkiya, but also they perform a dance, interestingly, which they do sing at the same time, which makes the udakki dance as a
Hourglass-shaped hand drum that belongs to the Athatha category of Panchaturya Nada, since it is played only using hands. The dancers are dressed in the traditional Kandian attire.
Kataragama of Giriyulla. Kanchana is an actress, in fact, who starred in very popular movies in Sri Lanka in recent history.
Yes. Following, trained and led by Mr. K.P.N.P. Kumara of Nitya Dance Academy. Nilesh, did you know that as an important deity in the Indian subcontinent since ancient times, worshipped as Mahasena and Kumara in North India, and is predominantly worshipped in the state of Tamil Nadu?
Just like the other gods, Lord Kataragama too has a weapon unique to himself known as the Velayudha, along with other symbols such as the peacock and the color red, which is now see the elephant Sita belonging to Mrs. Nilanthi Veerasinghe of Mirigama. Sita and her former consort Kumara were once the elephants who carried the requilities of still taking place in the Sri Kataragama Devale Perihara.
And Nilesh, following Sita, we are now seeing a group of Nayani dancers who are being led by Mr. of the Sri Kataragama Devale Perahera.
Different steps, and we just noticed how they perform the Nanuman, which is performed holding the ends of the tails.
Unlike the other four Devale shrines, the chief priest or the Iyer of Sri Kataragama Devale you are witnessing right now on the screen is not Sinhalese origin, performed his venerative task since many generations, where it was his father who performed this duty before him.
Kataragama will be carried by the elephant Avama belonging to Venerable Higgoda Chandimatheru, the chief incumbent of Kataragama, since the past 8 years. And this evening, Aruna is accompanied by Esala belonging to Venerable Katugasthura Sarathatheru, the chief incumbent of the Senanayak's movement, to worship and feel the devotion of Lord Kataragama.
It's the end of Sri Kataragama Devale Perahera. Now we are witnessing the commencement of the Sri Pattini Devale Perahera.
The Sri Pattini Devale in Kandy, who is also the only features of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, which can be easily reached with a resting ground and is still used for the royal elephants.
And as the commencing act, we are now seeing the arrival of the Buddhist flag bearers, who are being represented by the civil.
At least 4 centuries old, as there are written evidence of a perihara that had been held during the reign of King Rajasingha II. According to folklore, the statue of goddess Pattini at this Devalaya was bought from the Maligawa Pattini Devale. Devale in Kandy looks quite similar, and this evidence suggests that the Sri Mahapatni Devale in Kandy goes back to the 16th century in history.
And following the Buddhist flag bearers, now we are seeing the official heads troupe of Sri Mahapatni Devale and Mr. M.G. Premadasa.
It is fascinating to note how all the blend of these instruments individually contribute to the symphonic sound of the overall ensemble sound, while the thumb atom on the other hand creates a noise that is heard from a far distance.
High-pitched wind noise, and all these put together along with the instruments that were mentioned by Nilesh.
During the period of the Kandian kingdom from the 15th to the 18th centuries, during these times there was an increase of the Laksha industry, and now we see the first elephant of the shrine of Kegor representing the Kimpatiawala elephants at a stretch. And following Manike, we are seeing a special design choreography of an upcountry female dance performance. In fact, Pasasna, this is the first time in the 5th Kumbal Procession.
Goddess, this perihara of Sri Mahapatni Devale is dedicated to Goddess Pattini, who is the only female representation of these four gods, the four deities. So many female dance troupes adding colors to this procession today.
In fact, this segment of the perihara not just celebrates the virtues of Goddess Pattini, but it also celebrates the greatness of women and their value.
This dance troupe is trained and led by Miss Nadika Asuranada of Dandiyama Arts Academy of Mavatagama.
In fact, Sita was one of the only female elephants in the country who was once lucky enough to be a ceremonial elephant of the Kandy Esala Perahera, which was in the procession of Goddess Pattini itself back in the year 2000.
In Sita, we are now witnessing the arrival of a Lee Kelly dance troupe, which is being trained and led by Mrs. Anula Chandralata of Nimal Kumar.
Lee Kelly is one of the dance performances which have been performed since more than centuries ago, which is proved by the evidence that is still era to portrays a pictorial carving that illustrates a Lee Kelly performance.
And now we see the arrival of another magnificent
Taridu, belonging to Venerable Kobawaka Damminda Thero, the chief incumbent of the Kirive. And now we see a Nayani dance performance that is being trained and led by Nayani dance that we saw before, isn't it?
Exactly. We are now seeing a troupe of female Nayandi dancers, which again adds more colors to the performance here. So we can see much difference from what we saw previously in Nayandi dance performances.
In fact, one may wonder if the elegant representations of Kandian dancing is only biased towards the males, as we did the dance we saw before, but this time a female representation that is choreographed in a way which escorted by these female Nayandi dancers is a very gentle elephant, probably the most gentle elephant that we would see in the Perihara this evening.
And following Raja, who's walking with utmost majesty, we are now seeing a troupe of Savarang dancers who are being trained and led by
I believe this is the fourth Savarang dance performance that we are noticing in the Perihara this evening.
Exactly. But again, the special.
The theories of Kandian dance classifies such female dance representations as Nari Nadu, which translates to dance acts which are specifically designed to suit the manner and order of females. And Pasasna, you will be able to.
Exactly. Being an Asian country with long-standing affiliation to Buddhism, ladies of our country are known to be, and especially with great female idols such as Lady Vishaka, Princess Hemamala, and Goddess Patini herself.
Speaking of the elegant walk of a female, we now see another very beautiful walk by the great female elephant Athena of Damodar. She has been a very routine participant of the Sri Mahapatini Devale Kandy.
And following many,
Which is in fact the Nayani dance troupe that we see escorting the ceremonial elephant of the Sri Mahapatini Devale. Of Watapulva, where the current artist Mithun Bandara is the grandson of the great artist Ranjit Bandara, who used to perform in the Kandy Esala Perahera in this exact segment of the Sri Mahapinch in the absence of one artist, since it certainly passes down through many generations.
and it's amusing to see their dedication and their commitment towards dancing that change and the world change, times change and the world changes. Their commitment still continues and it exists.
And in fact, this same Nayani dance troupe will be transformed. Told before, the role of this Nayani dance troupe is to welcome the ceremonial elephant of the Sri Mahapatini Devale, led by the chief prelate. This evening, the rectories of Goddess Patini will be carried by the great elephant Mangala, Beta Vijayman of Madagoda, and the elephant Rani belonging to Mr. Richard Gonakura of Balangoda. In fact, Mangala has been performing the Dalada perihara this evening. And let us take this moment to feel and experience the devotion towards Goddess Patini.
And that marks the end of the fifth and the final Kumbal Procession of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2023.
We hope that our country will be blessed with fertility and rains.
May our country prosper.